Right now, while you're watching this video, there's a woman somewhere in your life who you've been trying to figure out. Maybe she's giving you mixed signals. Maybe you can't tell if she's interested or just being polite. Maybe you've been in the friend zone so long you've started paying rent there. And here's what's driving you crazy. You know there's something you're missing. Some invisible code that other guys seem to crack effortlessly while you're left wondering what the hell just happened. What if I told you that understanding a woman's mind isn't about reading tea leaves or having supernatural powers? What if the ability to create genuine magnetic attraction is actually based on measurable psychological principles that have been studied and proven by researchers for decades? The kind of research that reveals exactly how the female brain processes attraction, what triggers her deepest desires, and why some men can walk into a room and immediately command attention while others become invisible. You're about to discover the scientific blueprint that separates the guys who get the girl from the guys who get the "let's just be friends" speech. This isn't pick-up artist nonsense or manipulative tricks. This is evolutionary psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral research that reveals the real mechanisms of attraction. By the end of this video, you'll understand why she touches her hair when she talks to you, why she suddenly becomes distant after seeming interested, and most importantly, how to create the kind of attraction that makes her think about you when you're not around. Let's start with a fundamental truth that most men completely misunderstand. Dr. Helen Fisher, one of the world's leading anthropologists and researchers on love and attraction, has spent over 30 years studying the brain chemistry of romantic love. Her research using fMRI scans reveals that when a woman feels attraction, 3 distinct brain systems activate simultaneously: the sex drive, romantic love, and attachment. But here's the crucial part most men miss. These systems don't activate in the order you think they do. Most guys try to trigger physical attraction first, then hope emotional connection follows. This is backwards. Fisher's research shows that for women, the attachment system, the deep emotional connection, often needs to be engaged before the other systems fully activate. This is why you can be the most physically attractive guy in the room and still watch her choose someone else. You're playing by the wrong rules. Dr. John Gottman, who has studied over 3,000 couples and can predict divorce with 94% accuracy, discovered something revolutionary about how women process emotional connection. His research shows that women have a significantly different stress response system than men. When a woman feels emotionally unsafe or disconnected, her cortisol levels spike and her brain literally cannot process attraction the same way. This is why she can seem interested one day and cold the next. You're not seeing mixed signals, you're seeing her brain's protection mechanism. But here's where it gets interesting. Gottman's research also revealed that when a woman feels emotionally safe and understood, her brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which actually enhances her ability to feel physical attraction. This means that emotional connection doesn't just precede physical attraction for women, it amplifies it. Now, let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. Dr. Arthur Aaron's famous studies on creating intimacy revealed that asking the right questions can create deeper connection in 36 minutes than most people experience in months. But it's not just about the questions, it's about how you listen to the answers. His research shows that when someone feels truly heard and understood, their brain releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in addiction. This is why pickup lines fail and genuine curiosity succeeds. When you ask her about her dreams, her fears, her passions, and you actually listen without trying to fix or judge, you're literally creating a neurochemical response in her brain that makes her associate you with pleasure and safety. But listening is just the foundation. Dr. Albert Mehrabian's research on communication reveals that 55% of communication is body language, 38% is tone of voice, and only 7% is the actual words. This means that what you're not saying is speaking 5 times louder than what you are saying. Most men focus entirely on that 7%, the words, while completely ignoring the 93% that actually creates attraction. Here's what her body language is really telling you, based on research from Dr. Monica Moore, who studied over 200 women in social settings and catalogued 52 different flirting behaviors. When a woman is interested, she doesn't just smile more. She displays what Moore calls solicitation behaviors. These include the hair flip, which isn't vanity. It's a subconscious way of exposing her neck, one of the most vulnerable parts of the human body. When she does this while talking to you, she's literally signaling trust at a primal level. The lip bite isn't sexual. It's what psychologists call a displacement behavior. When a woman is nervous or excited, she needs to do something with the energy, and biting her lip is one way that manifests. If you see this while she's looking at you, her nervous system is literally responding to your presence. But here's the behavior that most men completely misread. When she breaks eye contact and looks down, guys think this means she's not interested. Actually, according to Moore's research, this is one of the strongest indicators of attraction. When a woman looks down while smiling, she's performing what ethologists call gaze aversion, a submissive behavior that signals receptiveness in mammals. She's not being weak, she's being receptive. Now let's talk about creating attraction, not just recognizing it. Dr. Robert Cialdini's research on influence reveals 6 psychological principles that drive human behavior, but 3 of them are particularly powerful in creating romantic attraction: reciprocity, scarcity, and social proof. Reciprocity in attraction isn't about buying her dinner and expecting something in return. It's much more subtle and powerful. When you reveal something vulnerable about yourself, her brain feels compelled to reciprocate with vulnerability of her own. This creates what psychologists call the intimacy spiral. Each person revealing slightly more, creating deeper and deeper connection. But here's the key: you have to go first. Research by Dr. Brené Brown on vulnerability shows that the person who initiates vulnerability is perceived as more confident and attractive. When you share something real about yourself, a fear, a dream, a moment of uncertainty, you're not showing weakness. You're demonstrating the kind of emotional strength that triggers attraction in the female brain. Scarcity is even more misunderstood. Most guys think scarcity means playing hard to get or being unavailable. That's not scarcity, that's just being difficult. Real scarcity is about being genuinely selective. When she realizes that you don't give your time, attention, and energy to just anyone, that you have standards and boundaries, her brain automatically assigns higher value to your interest. Dr. Timothy Buss's research on mate selection shows that women are evolutionarily wired to be attracted to men who are choosy about their partners. This isn't about being arrogant or aloof. It's about demonstrating that you value yourself enough to be selective. When she has to earn your attention rather than receiving it automatically, the dopamine reward system in her brain makes that attention more valuable. Social proof operates on an even deeper level. Pre-selection. The fact that other women find you attractive indeed triggers what evolutionary psychologists call mate copying. When she sees that other women enjoy your company, laugh at your jokes, and seek your attention, her brain interprets this as evidence of your genetic and social value. But social proof isn't just about other women. It's about being someone that other people, men and women, genuinely enjoy being around. Research by Dr. Nicholas Christakis on social networks shows that happiness and social connection are literally contagious. When you're someone who brings positive energy to social situations, people's brains release mirror neurons that make them feel good simply by being around you. This brings us to one of the most crucial aspects of attraction that most men completely ignore: emotional state. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's research on positive emotions reveals that when someone is in your presence and experiences positive emotions, their brain creates what she calls positivity resonance. They literally start to associate you with feeling good. This is why being funny is attractive, but not for the reason you think. It's not about the jokes themselves, it's about the emotional state you create. When she laughs, her brain releases endorphins and dopamine. If you're consistently the source of those positive emotions, her brain starts to crave your presence. But humor is just one way to create positive emotional states. Dr. Sean Achor's research on happiness shows that gratitude, curiosity, and enthusiasm are equally powerful in creating positive emotions in others. When you approach interactions with genuine curiosity about who she is, enthusiasm for the conversation, and gratitude for the moment, you're creating the kind of emotional experience that makes her want more. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Confidence. Every dating advice guru talks about confidence, but most explanations are useless because they don't explain what confidence actually is neurologically. Dr. Amy Cuddy's research on power posing reveals that confidence isn't just a feeling, it's a physiological state. When you stand, sit, and move in ways that take up space, your brain produces more testosterone and less cortisol. This changes not just how you feel, but how others perceive you. But true confidence goes deeper than posture. Dr. Albert Bandura's research on self-efficacy shows that real confidence comes from what he calls mastery experiences. Moments when you successfully handle challenging situations. This is why developing skills, pursuing passions, and having experiences outside of dating actually makes you more attractive. When you know you can handle whatever life throws at you, that certainty radiates from your very being. Women can sense this kind of confidence from across a room. It's not arrogance or bravado, it's the quiet certainty of someone who knows their own worth. Dr. Nathaniel Branden's research on self-esteem shows that this inner confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess because it signals genetic and social fitness at the deepest level. Let's talk about conversation, because this is where most men either win or lose. Dr. Deborah Tannen's research on gender and communication reveals that men and women often have completely different conversation styles. Men tend to use conversation to establish hierarchy and share information. Women tend to use conversation to create connection and explore emotions. This doesn't mean you need to talk about feelings all the time. It means you need to understand that for her, the conversation itself is often more important than the topic. When you focus on creating an emotional experience through conversation rather than just exchanging information, you're speaking her native language. Dr. John Gray's research on gender differences shows that women process information through an emotional filter first, then a logical one. This means that how you make her feel during the conversation will determine whether she remembers what you said. If the conversation feels good, she'll remember you positively. If it feels flat or awkward, it doesn't matter how clever your words were. The most powerful conversational tool is what psychologists call active listening. This isn't just nodding and saying, uh-huh. Real active listening involves reflecting back what you're hearing, asking follow-up questions that show you're truly engaged, and creating space for her to express herself fully. When someone feels truly heard, their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone that creates deep emotional connection. But here's what most men don't understand about attraction. It's not constant. Dr. Helen Fisher's research shows that romantic love operates in cycles. The brain can't maintain the high-intensity neurochemical state of early attraction indefinitely. This is why she might seem incredibly interested one day and more distant the next. It's not rejection, it's neurobiology. Understanding this pattern changes everything. Instead of panicking when her interest seems to wane, you recognize it as a natural part of the attraction process. Instead of chasing or trying to force it, you give space and allow the cycle to complete. Often this space is exactly what allows her interest to rebuild naturally. Dr. John Bowlby's attachment theory reveals why this space is so crucial. His research shows that humans are wired to want what they can't have completely. When you're always available, always responsive, always there, her brain categorizes you as secured and stops producing the neurochemicals associated with romantic pursuit. A little mystery, a little unpredictability keeps the dopamine system engaged. This doesn't mean playing games or being inconsistent. It means having a full, rich life that doesn't revolve around her. When she knows that you have other interests, other commitments, other sources of fulfillment, you become more valuable, not less. Dr. Esther Perel's research on long-term relationships shows that desire requires distance. When two people maintain their individual identities while building connection, attraction can be sustained indefinitely. Let's address physical escalation, because this is where many men either move too fast or not at all. Dr. Eli Finkel's research on physical intimacy shows that touch releases oxytocin in both people, but the key is calibration. The right touch at the right time creates connection. The wrong touch at the wrong time creates discomfort and kills attraction. The principle is simple. Start small and escalate gradually based on her response. A brief touch on the arm while making a point. A gentle touch on the back while walking. Physical escalation should feel natural and mutual, not aggressive or one-sided. When done correctly, each small escalation makes the next one feel normal and welcome. But physical escalation isn't just about moving toward intimacy. It's about creating chemistry. Dr. Fisher's research shows that appropriate physical contact actually increases the production of dopamine and norepinephrine, the chemicals responsible for romantic feelings. When you touch her appropriately, you're literally creating the neurochemical conditions for attraction. Now let's talk about one of the biggest attraction killers, neediness. Dr. Robert Glover's research on nice guy syndrome reveals that when men seek validation through women's approval, they trigger what psychologists call avoidance behaviors. Neediness isn't about wanting her. It's about needing her approval to feel good about yourself. Women can sense this energetically. When your mood, your self-worth, and your happiness depend on her responses, she feels the weight of that responsibility, and her brain interprets it as pressure. Pressure is the opposite of attraction. Dr. David Dider's research on masculine and feminine energy shows that women are attracted to men who love them, but don't need them. This is the paradox of attraction. The less you need someone's approval, the more likely you are to get it. When you're complete within yourself, when you genuinely enjoy her company but don't require it for your happiness, you create the kind of relaxed, pressure-free environment where attraction can flourish. Dr. Marshall Rosenberg's research on nonviolent communication reveals that when people feel no pressure to be anything other than who they are, they naturally open up and become more attractive. When she feels safe to be herself around you, including her moods, her quirks, her imperfections, she associates you with acceptance and freedom. Let's discuss the role of purpose in attraction. Dr. Viktor Frankl's research on meaning shows that people are most attractive when they're pursuing something larger than themselves. When you have a mission, a purpose, a direction in life that excites you, it creates what psychologists call attractive ambition. You become someone worth following. Women are evolutionarily attracted to men who are building something, creating something, moving towards something meaningful. This doesn't mean you have to be a CEO or save the world. It means you need to be genuinely excited about your own life and where it's heading. When she can see that you're growing, evolving, and pursuing your potential, she wants to be part of that journey. Dr. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research on flow states shows that people are most attractive when they're engaged in activities that challenge and fulfill them. When you're in your element, whether it's your work, your hobbies, your fitness, your creativity, you radiate the kind of energy that draws people in. This is why the advice to work on yourself is actually scientifically sound. When you're genuinely invested in becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally become more attractive, not because you're trying to impress her, but because you're expressing your authentic potential. One of the most powerful attraction principles that most men never learn is what Dr. Brené Brown calls emotional granularity, the ability to identify and express specific emotions rather than just good or bad. When you can articulate not just that you're excited, but that you're intrigued by the possibilities, or not just that you're disappointed, but that you're frustrated by the missed connection, you demonstrate emotional intelligence that women find incredibly attractive. Dr. Daniel Goleman's research on emotional intelligence shows that the ability to understand and navigate emotions, both your own and others, is one of the strongest predictors of success in relationships. When you can recognize that she's not angry, but overwhelmed, not distant, but processing, not uninterested, but cautious, you can respond in ways that create connection rather than conflict. This emotional awareness also allows you to be authentic about your own feelings without being overwhelming. When you can say, "I'm genuinely curious about your perspective on this," instead of "I like you," you're expressing interest in a way that feels safe and intriguing rather than pressuring. The final piece of the attraction puzzle is what Dr. Rumi called the paradox of love. The more space you create for someone to choose you, the more likely they are to do so. When your energy says, "I'm interested in you, I enjoy you, I see your value, and I'm secure enough to let you decide how you feel about me," you create the perfect conditions for genuine attraction to develop. This doesn't mean being passive or unclear about your interest. It means being confident enough in your own worth that you don't need to convince, persuade, or pressure anyone into choosing you. When she feels free to choose you without obligation or manipulation, that choice becomes genuine and lasting. Dr. Sue Johnson's research on emotionally focused therapy shows that the strongest relationships are built on what she calls secure attachment, where both people feel safe to be vulnerable, safe to be themselves, and safe to choose each other freely. When you create this kind of emotional safety, attraction isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Understanding a woman's mind isn't about having psychic powers or learning secret techniques. It's about understanding the fundamental human needs for safety, connection, growth, and choice. When you can create an environment where she feels safe to be herself, excited about the connection you're building, inspired by your own growth and purpose, and free to choose you without pressure, you've mastered the science of attraction. The men who are truly successful with women aren't the ones with the best lines or the smoothest moves. They're the ones who understand that attraction is a natural response to feeling safe, valued, understood, and free. When you embody these qualities consistently, you don't have to read her mind. Her actions will show you everything you need to know.